Before we begin, take a moment to support the channel. If you're interested in real crime stories, unsolved disappearances, and cases that still raise questions today, make sure to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps keep these stories alive. Now, let's begin.
On the night of March 31st, 2006, a 27-year-old medical student named Brian Shaffer walked into a bar in Columbus, Ohio, and he was never seen again. There was no struggle, no crime scene, no goodbye, no confirmed sighting after that night. Brian Shaffer didn't vanish in a dark alley or on a remote road. He disappeared from a crowded, well-lit bar, surrounded by people, security cameras, and witnesses. And yet, he seemed to evaporate. Brian was a second-year medical student at the Ohio State University. By all accounts, he was intelligent, social, and well-liked. He had a wide circle of friends, a promising career ahead of him, and plans for the future. But beneath the surface, Brian had been carrying an immense emotional weight. Just weeks before his disappearance, Brian's mother had passed away after a long illness. Friends said he was grieving deeply, even if he didn't always show it. Despite the pain, Brian pushed forward, attending classes, spending time with friends, and trying to maintain some sense of normalcy. On March 31st, Brian went out with friends to celebrate the start of spring break. Their destination was the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a popular bar located near the Ohio State University campus. It would be the last confirmed place Brian Shaffer was ever seen. Security cameras captured Brian entering the bar. He was smiling, laughing, talking casually with friends. Nothing about his demeanor suggested he was planning to disappear. Nothing hinted that this night would become one of the most baffling mysteries in modern American true crime. As the night went on, Brian socialized, drank, and talked with women inside the bar. At one point, he was seen chatting with two female students near the entrance. And then, something strange happened. Brian Shaffer never appeared on camera leaving the bar. Despite multiple exits, multiple cameras, and hours of footage reviewed frame by frame, investigators could not find a single image of Brian walking out. He went in, but he never came out. This single fact would transform a routine night out into a case that continues to defy logic nearly 2 decades later. Was Brian murdered? Did he leave unseen? Did he plan his disappearance? Or did something happen inside the bar that no one noticed? The disappearance of Brian Shaffer is not just a missing person case. It is a locked room mystery, a puzzle with missing pieces, a question that refuses to fade. Because somewhere between the entrance of the Ugly Tuna Saloona and the early morning hours of April 1st, 2006, Brian Shaffer vanished. On the night of March 31st, 2006, Brian Shaffer went out to celebrate the beginning of spring break. He chose a place he knew well, the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a popular bar located on the second floor of the South Campus Gateway complex near Ohio State University. Brian arrived with friends shortly before 9 p.m. Security footage shows him entering the bar calmly, casually dressed, blending into the crowd like hundreds of other students that night. Nothing about his behavior suggested distress. Nothing hinted that this would be the last time anyone would ever see him. Inside the bar, the night unfolded normally. Music played, drinks were ordered, friends laughed. At some point during the night, Brian became separated from his group. This wasn't unusual. The bar was crowded. People moved in and out constantly. Around 1:55 a.m., security cameras captured Brian speaking with two women near the bar's entrance. He appeared relaxed, engaged, alive. That moment would become the last confirmed sighting of Brian Shaffer. Shortly after, his friends decided to leave. They assumed Brian had already gone home. Brian assumed his friends had left without him. But here's where the case takes a disturbing turn. The Ugly Tuna had only one public entrance and exit, and that exit was covered by security cameras. Brian was never seen leaving. Not on camera, not by witnesses, not by staff, not by friends. Somewhere between that final conversation and closing time, Brian Shaffer vanished. When investigators reviewed the surveillance footage, they expected to find Brian leaving the bar. They never did. This single fact transformed the case from a missing persons investigation into a mystery that defied logic. The Ugly Tuna Saloona was located on the second floor. To leave, patrons had to descend a specific set of stairs. Those stairs were monitored by cameras. Everyone else was seen leaving. Bartenders, security, other customers. Everyone except Brian. Police immediately considered alternate exits, emergency doors, service hallways, construction routes. But every possible exit was checked, locked, alarmed, monitored. There was no evidence Brian used them. Investigators questioned staff extensively. No one remembered seeing Brian after closing. No altercations, no medical emergencies, no forced removal. Then came the realization that made the case even darker. If Brian didn't leave the bar, then whatever happened to him likely happened inside or immediately outside the building. And yet, no body, no blood, no trace. It was as if Brian Shaffer simply ceased to exist. As days passed, hope faded. Brian's father, Randy Shaffer, became the driving force behind the search. He distributed flyers, gave interviews, pressed police for answers. But tragedy struck again. In September 2008, Randy Shaffer was killed in a freak accident when a tree fell on him during a storm. The man who never stopped searching for his son would never see answers. With time, theories multiplied. Some believed Brian fell victim to foul play. Others suggested he may have left through an unmonitored route. A few speculated that Brian chose to disappear voluntarily, though those closest to him strongly rejected that idea. Brian had just lost his mother to cancer weeks before. He was grieving, emotionally vulnerable, but he was also close to finishing medical school. He had plans, a future, and no evidence suggested he wanted to abandon his life. The investigation stalled. Leads dried up. The case went cold. But the question never changed. How does a man disappear from a crowded bar without leaving? Nearly 2 decades later, Brian Shaffer has never been found. No body, no confession, no explanation. Only questions suspended in time. Every year, the same footage is replayed. Brian entering the bar, Brian talking near the exit, and then nothing. Somewhere between one moment and the next, Brian Shaffer vanished. His case remains one of the most baffling disappearances in American true crime history. Not because of what we know, but because of what we don't. A man went into a bar with cameras, a bar with one exit, and he never walked out. Though Brian Shaffer vanished without a trace, his absence left behind a silence louder than any answer. Time has passed, seasons have changed, and the world has continued to move forward. Yet the questions surrounding his disappearance still linger in the shadows. His story is not just one of mystery, but of love, loss, and the enduring human need for truth. In remembering Brian, we honor not only who he was, but the hope that one day the darkness will give way to clarity, the unknown will finally speak, and those who have carried his memory for so long may find peace. Until that moment comes, Brian Shaffer is remembered, his name alive in thought and heart, never erased, never forgotten.
If you want to keep uncovering the mysteries that linger in the shadows, don't forget to subscribe. Your likes help these cases reach more investigators, and your comments might just be the clue that leads to the truth. Stay curious and stay vigilant.